What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece, episode 1140. So, in this one, um, Luffy finishes eating, he recovers, he goes back into Gear 5, and basically he starts affecting the world around. So the world around is bouncy. So you see all the buildings you know, swaying back and forth like one of those old cartoon short films like you see on on Looney Tunes, Disney, and all that. And then so basically he's able to easily defeat all these Navy soldiers, all the Marines. Then Kizaru had destroyed the little ship that was carrying, Bonnie, Kuma, Atlas. So while they're falling, so Sanji's using the flash step lever to try to get to them. And then and Saturn tells Kizaru to kill them, to kill Kuma, Bonnie. So Kizaru shoots his little light beams at Frankie, Atlas, Kuma, and and then the pacifistas they aim their weapons at Bonnie and Kuma. Then Vegapunk calls Atlas, tells her to tell Bonnie something. So when Atlas says so, Bonnie yells for the pacifistas to don't shoot them and to help them escape. So the pacifistas start attacking the Marines. So it's very real that Vegapunk put a secret function there to have Bonnie be able to override the five elders because, well, Vegapunk didn't want basically Bonnie to be killed by a machine that looked like her father. And that'd be a nightmare for both Bonnie and Kuma. So the pacifistas start helping, the Straw Hats. Luffy is doing all stuff. He's back in Gear 5. Sanji's there to help fight. And, Bonnie remembers the stuff that Kuma would say about Nika. And then, Vegapunk says that Luffy is Nika. Yeah. So yeah, that and then the giant pirates with Dory and Broggy, they're arriving to Egghead. So they'll be there soon. Which that's gonna be fun to see. So yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. One Piece chapter 1157. So in this one, this continues the big flashback with Rox, Herald, and Loki. So basically, Gloriosa by this point has left the Kuja Pirates and joined the Rocks Pirates. Then Shakiyaku has also left, and she moves to Hachinosu, which the Rocks Pirates rule, but she's not there to join the Rocks Pirates. She's there to just open a business. And basically, there's a month-long waiting list because she is very popular because she's hot. I mean, I mean, basically, all the Kuja pirate, all the males in the Kuja pirates, they're very okay with her being there, even though she's not an official member. So it's funny. And yeah, Haral's trying to get Elbaf into the world government, but since he was trying to help an unaffiliated nation who had helped Elbaf before, basically the world government's like, no, you can't do that. These are unaffiliated nations. They don't have rights. If you want, and basically they're like the world goes, hey, if you want to join the world government, you can't help unaffiliated independent nations. That's what they tell Harald. And Rox keeps trying to get Harald to join him. Then you have an argument in Navy HQ. You have Garp. Sengoku, Otsuru, and Kong. So this one, Sengoku is a you know is a vice admiral. Otsuru is also vice admiral. Otsuru is a future great advisor. Sengoku being the future fleet admiral, although he doesn't hold that role right now in the present. That would be Sakazuki that holds it right now. Then you have Kong, who's a future commander in chief, who's an admiral at this point. So Garp wants Elbaf to join because like Kong's like, hey, their giants are vicious, and Garp's like, yeah, that's why we want them on our side. And Sengoku like seems to respect Harald. He's like, hey, seems to be a good dude. He might be trying to change Elbaf, maybe a good idea. And Kong doesn't know what he should do. Then like basically, so so in like the narration stuff, Shakuyaku is called a treasure on which is hinting at so there was something about like the treasure of Hachinosu was stolen and taken to God Valley. So this seems to imply that she's the treasure. That Shakuyaku is the treasure. I completely understand why she would be seen as a treasure. But yeah, so I mean, so yeah, Shakagu's bar is like obviously very, very popular. And then yeah, this is gonna be funny. This bit's gonna be funny when it's animated. And so then Harald is so then we see Mary Joa with the five elders at the time. So Saturn would still be alive at this point. So they tell they want Harald to be sent a message that says if the only way Elbaf will allow to join the world government is if Harald kills Rock, is if the giants kill rocks. So it looks like we're about to see God Valley very soon. We'll see what Harald decides. So who knows? Maybe the giants were actually involved with God Valley, and that was something that was kept quiet. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff that was kept quiet about God Valley. There's a lot of those we don't know about, so I think that this was a very good chapter. I like what they're setting up. It is so it looks like Shakyaku. I've seen a lot of comparisons to like Helen of Troy. Do like the Trojan War was started. Basically, everyone was fighting over Helen, who was like considered the most beautiful woman. In the in Greece at the time. In that story, and then like so Shakyaku could be considered like basically the most beautiful woman in the world, like in One Piece in that time period. So which I would probably agree with that statement. So yeah, so basically it's gonna be interesting, like what happens, like so yeah, so you have this is someone living Hachinosu, Hachinosu getting attacked, someone being kidnapped. That would hurt Rox's pride. That would even ignoring like the whole basically all the men want to basically they all want to bang Shakuyaku. Like not even, like ignoring that it's gotta hurt his like Rox's pride to have like someone living on his island under his protection being kidnapped. And the Roger pirates are gonna be there. It's there's probably gonna be a lot of humor from this, but it's like so we might see God Valley, and I'm excited. I'm like, this is not how I was expecting we'd see God Valley. Like I would have thought Shanks would be involved in this fight, in the stuff on Elbaf before like we would get to that. But yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. News Exorcist, chapter 110. So in this one, We see Gakuro, and everyone fighting like Suzaku and all her minions. So Gakuro is actually able to do some damage, and we see Ishu trying to get everyone to the teleportation circle, get them out. And but Suzaku tries to attack Ishu, but Gakuro's are like stop her attacks. And then so a lot of some of the other girls arrive to help, but and then basically Gakuro's able to fight, and then basically he like takes some damage because only members of Suzuki's family is able to touch her without taking damage. So he accepts damage to do bigger damage, and his arm gets there. But Ishu does some thread empowered by like other people's energy, so that basically like reattaches his arm. So like Gakuro like basically so the threads were not able to be cut. So it allows Gakuro to do a slash to do like a big attack on Suzaku, and that really ends the chapter. So yeah, I like this chapter. I like the combat in it. All the magic stuff that's shown. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking for the next one. The Elusive Samurai, chapter 214. So in this one, it's shown that Gemba has basically been, you know, disguised themselves as different spies to send like false information throughout Takaji's like group, like throughout his army. So then Natsu like goes to the southern court to deliver some information, and then so basically once she delivers the information, and she's exhausted, so basically the information delivers that Takaji killed Tadayoshi, so the southern court will act as planned. Basically, you see the Southern Court discuss how like Takaji promised to return authority to the Mikado, but they know he's lying since Tadayoshi's dead. So the Southern Court marched to Kyo to take it. Then you see forces in Kanto, like in Kanto, Oshu, and Shinano, basically start gathering to like take Kyo and Kamakura. Basically, it's a big operation. It is a huge operation, and Takaji is freaking out because he doesn't know how in the world the basically like he because there's a bunch of false intel, and then you have people knowing about Tayoshi's death like very early, so he's concerned about what happened. So like he's not composed like he is because he usually would smile through bad stuff, but he's like really messed up. So then we get to the camp, to the Hojo camp. So Mima tells all the wives to basically say goodbye to the men, and then yes, and Tokiyuki promises to like not let anyone to like bring like all those women's husbands back, to like to make sure that they come back safe and sound. So we see Muniyoshi Shino like trying to like inspire the troops. Then basically like we see all the armies are gathering, so everyone we see Nida Yoshioki and his brother Nida Mune. So like everyone, and Yoshimune is like relatively calmer, and then like basically yeah, so like everyone, all the allies are gathering to prepare. Like, and it's funny how all the losers are like they're glad that Yoshimune is also I guess an idiot, because they kind of would have been sad if he was actually intelligent, because they want him to be just like Nita. just like Yoshioki. So we see like Usugi's there as well. So like basically everyone's gathering. They're all preparing. So you have the Suwa, the Nida, the Usugi, and the Hojo. Those armies are all gathered for a final battle. So yeah. So it looks like we're getting close to the final arc. You know, of course, history with what all happened. Obviously things are not necessarily gonna go well with like if they follow what history does, things are not gonna necessarily end well. I mean, they just won't. Yeah. So basically, this could be yeah. So like this could be like so we're gonna deal with the well. I don't know how close we are to the end because I think we're in 1352. So the recapture of Kamakura is about to happen. So Kamakura basically in history, Kamakura is recaptured. Now things don't necessarily go well, but yeah. So you know basically, and I don't know how faithful to history they're gonna be with it, but basically, think like most of these characters are gonna kick the bucket. Maybe not in this battle, but very soon. Like most of them are gonna die. Like after this, some point after this bout, basically a lot of them are gonna. I think I'm pretty sure gonna die. Like it's not very. These characters do not get happy, and a lot of these characters do not get. So the historical figures in this do not necessarily get happy endings. So I don't know exactly how they're gonna handle this, but yeah, so regardless, I really like this chapter, like what they're setting up with the final battle. Looking forward to the next one. Kagurabachi Chapter 90. So this one, so we see this one focused on Kiri fighting, one of the Hishaku, and then like basically, so we must yeah. So this focuses on this is showing off Kiri's like sword ability. So like and Hakari is like just seeing this going on. And basically Kiri's using like her giant sword, partly to show off to her grandfather. And then like basically you see like then the text boxes like commentary on like how on her sword fighting. So yeah, so basically we see Kiri do all the fighting, and then yeah, and then she's like basically bitten by some weird sorcery monster thing. Then this one Hiskimir tries to kill her, but it's blocked because Kira's like she's used to speed, so and then so basically she's used to handling all that, so Kiri like defeats the beast and the Hishoku members. Like I guess I don't know if she had like killed them, killed her. Like like whoever was trying to kill her was probably dead or really injured. So then another person arrives asking where Uruha is, and that basically ends the chapter. So yeah, I really like this chapter. I like the visuals with the swordplay. Kiri's sword fight was very entertaining to see. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi Chapter 56. So in this one, we see Kiyoshi and Sudaroth do their final attacks. Like they see one big clash, and like we see like I guess in kind of like the talk no jutsu thing that Naruto and Sasuke would do in that and during the five Kage arc in Naruto. Basically the kind of thing Naruto's kind of made fun of for. So there's like in some no talk jutsu realm. So where basically I guess Kiyoshi and Suaroth they talk. Basically, they're the whole fight. Like Suaroth is like turned on. It's like he's like turned on by the fight, by like the fact he's about to die. So basically after they have their whole conversation, he explains that the fact that Kiyoshi would probably would spare him if Suaroth asked. Basically his compassion and all that makes like that make like that makes one of the reasons why human souls are well liked by demons because there's a lot of purity in some human souls. But then Suaroth is satisfied by it and he just asks Kiyoshi to not forget him. Kiyoshi's like, okay. So we see Suaroth die. Like basically he's dead. So Kiyoshi's like, we won. Then so he starts to he like collapses, but Akari like catches him. So yeah, it looks like this manga is ending very soon. I don't know how long, whether it's gonna be next week or the week after. Who knows? There aren't gonna be too many chapters left, I don't think. But yeah. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Be the Witch, chapter 46. So in this one, we see like there's that whole little like meeting going on. So some of the witches were talking to Gokuraku, like trying to ask him about like some of his techniques and all that. So how he learned about basically he's like one of the few men there, so you have all these women trying to flirt with him. When you're like one of the basically there's like only two dudes there. I mean, it's gonna happen. So Gokuraku, who's like basically he's a prince, so like he's able to like speak very, I guess, he's able to communicate well with all of them. Because a lot of the women are like starstruck. It's funny. Then Descaras, everyone's asking for like her autograph. You see like Ichi like doesn't know what to do, which Kumiki notices. Basically, just repeating like nice weather we're having, blah blah blah. Basically, all the lessons that that Togis and Descaras slammed into his head. So Kumigi offers to get Ichi a drink, but then Spica appears and offers Ichi a drink. Kumugi's nervous, and so we know from the last chapter that Spica saw Ichi was and basically very much started simping over him. So Kumugi's nervous, and Spica like basically the way she words things is like she wants to replace Kumugi on Team Descaris. And we see a flashback to like basically when Kumugi was a kid, like basically she's 2 years older than Spica. Spica was just better at everything than her. And then so when Kumugi tried to light the light bulb, basically something went wrong, and basically there's an explosion that destroyed one of her eyes. And then uh basically like so basically Kumugi he's basically one thing Spica said that reminded her that was that when Spica said yeah, the harder she tries, the more things tend to go awry. So yeah. So then somehow Kumigi studied medical magic. I guess my guess is to help heal Spica's eye. Then yes, basically Spica's like controlled a lot of her life, and Kumigi just didn't say no to a lot because like she destroyed one of Spica's eyes. Basically, Spica's very smug. Basically, Kumigi takes because she's like feels like she has the right, Spica has the right to punish her. So Spiga asks Ichi if it's alright if she replaces Kumugi, and then she's like, so so Ichi asks Kumugi if that's what she actually wants. Spiga said that's what Kumugi wants, but Ichi asks Kumugi, I guess to say for herself that's what she wants, but Kumugi starts being nervous, but like before Spiga like is able to so he's like, oh yeah, see, no objections, but then Kumugi's like, no, she gets nervous, but she's like, she does have objections to that. So it looks like we're gonna see some words, That's gonna be an interesting conversation next week. Probably it's gonna transfer Spica and Kumugi to just hash some things out, which they should. So yeah, I really like this chapter. I'm interested in what they're saying up with Spica. You know, who know, like basically she just comes off as a very smug prick who needs to have a bad day. Like really, someone needs to like, come on. I mean, yes, I would be pissed too if someone destroyed my eye. I would, but when you be a smug prick your entire life and you did, I mean, ultimately the accident that was Kumugi's fault. But Spica did drive her to that point, like just by being smug prick the entire time. Like, yeah, I mean, but overall, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Nice Prison, chapter 16. So in this one, um, we see like basically we see a bunch of people pass us. So it looks like we see a Nazuna was actually not Warden Picopa of Block 6. Yeah, so I guess a Warden was part of like Super Death Row Prisoners group. So it looks like all the fights are done. Then so Terra opens the gourd, and we see Terra's father released, and like Terra's father gives her like a souvenir like that from the gourd. I don't know why there's ones. So Terra's father tells her that to defeat the super death row prisoner, that she'll need the sacred nightstick, Escalabaton. Yes, I'm not kidding. Like Excalibur. Uh, I swear, if that thing starts saying Excalibur, 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 like the freaking Soul Eater, like Excalibur song, I would be, it would be funny. I mean, it does get annoying, but that's the point of the Excalibur song. Is the reason no one uses that Death Scythe, that thing. Well, no. Was Excalibur Death Scythe? Anyway, I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, but everyone, Terra notices that the pedestal for the Escalabaton looks like a Pinot ice cream. So basically, we explained the Excalabaton can damage any prisoner that has the death row element. So like, and the only ones who can, I guess the only one who can pull it up is someone who's like pure heart or whatever. So of course, basically you have the death ball, the ball and chain, like the dark ball and chain, then like the dark ball prisoner. Of course, they both get shocked by it. Tara doesn't get shocked, but like she doesn't be able to pull it out. And Uchiboshi tries it, and then he asks if 6 gold coins will do, which like the river Styx payment. Basically, he's like no. So he pulls out the pedestal, but which literally does look like Pinot ice cream. But basically, it's like you can't use brute force, so basically everyone tries to so Mitsuboshi and the Kasan try to pull the two apart, but they get shocked when they try that. So now Mitsubishi didn't get shocked when he touched the baton, so it's obviously Kasan's issue that caused it to shock him. So then we get like these super death row prisoner elite guards, Fujin and Raijin arrive. But then basically everyone else tries to fight them off while Terra tries to deal with the Excalibur baton. So her father tells her to think about babies or something to make her more pure. Then she hears a voice from inside the Scalbaton called the prison guard god Seville Servant, asking if she wishes for power. And then the the god asks like, "Hey, do you wish for do you want power? Do you wish for a baby because you were thinking about him?" Terra's like, "Oh, it had no effect." So basically, so Terra says that she says she hasn't done a thing worthy of being a prison guard. She says that she thinks thinks Mitsubishi is a more of a prison guard than her. Basically, she says she wants to use the scalp baton to discipline the super death row prisoner. And the god's like, okay. Well, reluctantly, he's like, okay. So Tara, basically it's heavy, so she kind of like I guess drops it a little, and like it blew the pest away, and like it reforms Raijin and Fujin. So I guess like the power of a skeleton is like it reforms like whoever whichever prisoner it hits. Then so Tara's father says he's glad to see his daughter. That he's glad to see his daughter be like a good prison guard. One last time. So I guess he like phasing back into the afterlife and all that. Mitsubishi like apologizes for what his dad did, and Tara's father says that he's sorry he wasn't able to reform the super death row prisoner. So then like everyone's like, all right, let's. Then this random dog appears and it's like, all right, let's take down the super death row prisoner. And it was like, okay. So yeah, I really like this chapter. That was interesting. Okay, so Tara's the one that actually, was like is actually gonna do something. So you see it. Most of the part of it is like it's her reacting to everything while Mitsubishi does everything. So it'd be interesting what happens like with her doing stuff. So I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Odor of the Flame, chapter 14. So in this one, so Odor is getting like bandaged up, in the aftermath of the fight. And so Huggin the Wise is telling him basically how about the war. So like it's revealed the reason the Ice Kingdom did their invasion is to kill the spirits and kill and capture spirits. So that's why they were trying to invade, go to the place where the spirits were. So like, with the iron spirit, the fire spirit. So fire spirit talks to the iron spirit about basically how she doesn't remember anything. Iron spirit's like, oh, yeah, I was like, okay, it may be better for you to remember as you know, with your own eyes. So Huggin describes things the spirits are quickening because they're waking up and all that, and they basically they grant boons to people. So the Ice King wants the spirits' power for themselves, and then basically it's all the whole war is about who can get the most spirits. So Huggins says that basically the king has been wanting to create a band of warriors called the Slipnir, the king's eight hooves. Basically, Huggin wants Oder to become part of the group, and then so Lunar Halo is one of them, and then basically so Huggin tells him to think about it a little bit, let the emotions die down, then give him an answer, basically within a week. Oda wonders what Serald would have been like if there hadn't been the war. So the dwarves make Oda another sword, and all that, and then so Oda's grandfather rise gives him a message from his sister, basically saying that she's doing fine. So yeah, so the sword, so Oda gets his sword, and then looks like he's ready to go. And then basically he's given instructions with pictures on how to use it. So yeah. So then Huggin talks to Edupurko, basically apologizes for not being courteous. Edupurko doesn't care, and it's revealed that Edupurko is the third princess of the realm, Herald Edupurko Midgarza. Oda is shocked about that, so it's like, oh, she's a princess. Okay. So yeah, so I really like this arc. It looks like a good way to end this arc, lead into the next arc. So I like what they're introducing with the the eight hooves. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Harukaze Mound, Chapter 9. So in this one, we see the final pitch. Aotaru is basically we see him flashback to him and Ibuki's childhood. We see Aotaru grew up, got taller, and then basically he had lost contact with Ibuki, and then he got message about a practice game. So then we see to the pitch. So Aru's able to barely hit the ball with a mm, a basically with one hand. That's how he can't reach it with two hands, so he has to do it with one hand. So he's but the way I guess the fielders were positioned, basically allowed him to be thrown out at first. So it's 2 outs. So now there's 2 outs left. Then we see Ibuki catch a foul ball in order to get the final out. So basically, so Hinazakura wins the practice game. And so, Aru, basically everyone's congratulates each other. Nagaharu's like, hey, tells Ibuki, hey, we're gonna prove that we're a great combo. It was like, dang right. So yeah, so Aru, basically he's very respectful towards it all. And then, it seems that then so the Sishin Gakusha coach tells the Hinazakura coach that basically there's another practice game and they ask for Sishin offers the Hinazakura basically a way to basically replace them since they have a scheduling conflict. So Ibuki and Nagaharu are like, hey, this game's already benefited us. So yeah, so then Aotaru asks Ibuki if he's been in contact with the rest of the Golden Generation. So that seems looks like the other members of Golden Generation is going to play a role later in I guess later chapters, maybe the next chapter. So yeah, I really like this chapter. I liked how the baseball stuff was done. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ekiden Bros, Chapter 7. So in this one, Matoi and Nobunaga are so they're in the forest at night, based on the road. Basically, Matoi's trying to explain to him something about, I guess, how cross country, long distance running works. So basically, he's wanting to be prepared. He wants to win. He wants Oda and I to win against Seitoku. So yeah, basically, Matoi's thinking to himself, "We say he wants to win, it means he wants to beat Kinzaki." So Kinzaki being one of the better runners, I guess, around. Then So we see Kinzaki talking to Nobu's dad, Nobuhide Kazuma, the Seitoku coach. They're talking about, and then like basically, yeah. So Kinzaki's like implying that he thinks that Kazuma wants the team to go to Oga because of Nobu, and like basically, yeah. So this is gonna be interesting, with all the race coming up. So it's a team event. So like Montoy talks to the O9 coach, tells him that he knows that like regardless of what's gonna happen, that Nobu was gonna end up on on like the team for it. Basically, so the coach says he saw something in Nobu during like when he was scouting him. That says if basically if he could be polished, he'd be faster than Kinsaki. So Montoy's like, hey, I guess he's interested. He's interested in how it goes. So yeah, so basically looks like next chapter we're gonna start with the Oga Ekiden. So yeah, I really like this chapter. That was interesting what they're saying up with the race. Like this one. Look forward to the next one. Ping-Pong Peril Chapter 6. So in this one, we see Tyra finish like his match in the public bath. So like basically they're just trying to electrocute each other, and then like so when the shop owner like notices it, tries to hit it to the women's side of the bath, since she knows Tyra's trying to hide it from someone, and he basically Tyra gets up there, so basically Momo's face is like covered, and then basically like so at the end, like whenever it happens, so basically then Pyro like he does win, he actually wins in points, like he wins in points, with like winning first to 11, all that, but he gets knocked out. So he gets knocked out right after he wins. So basically, he wins with like a more, I guess you could say, traditional way. You know, it's not really, I guess, the best way to put it. And then, yeah, so then basically, he wins. Then he gets, I mean, wakes up. Basically, once he wakes up, he's told, hey. So we see the shop owner having like this, the bamboo fountain that goes really fast as like a cover story. Then she like had made it. So yeah, so basically, Tyler's invited back in case he wants to play again. Tyler's like, yeah, I'm good. So that ends the chapter. So yeah, I don't know what else is gonna go on as far as like the next game goes, but I really like this chapter. I liked how they were using like the bath as like the arena. So really just wanted to look for the next one. Apocalypse Brainer Mynoghra, Episode 7. So this one, so the Kingdom of Fawn Caven has been dealing with monster attacks, and Takado sends Otto and some other people to negotiate with the Beastkin who have just arrived to Mynoghra. So there's this very hyper mage named Pepe who like is there to help, Tokapoli negotiate with Otto and Takado. Now, so Pepe like asks Takado to be his friend. Takado agrees. Basically, Pepe's his first friend ever, and so they basically Minogra throws like a dinner party, celebrate the alliance between the two sides. So Takado and Pepe play some games. Pepe suggests trading, some of the food, like some of the food, the games, and then basically Tokopoli tells Takuto about some of the attacks that have been going. There's been some barbarians that are attacking, and Takuto agrees to help since they want peace, even though they're technically evil. And so they decide to deal with the issue in Dragon Tan before, and so before they agree, like basically, so Karia, Mary, Korea, and Maria are going to investigate Fawn Cave. They basically beg, like, they convince Takuto to let him investigate. Autos grows jealous of that. Basic, So like, Korea, Maria, they're basically children. They're like little kids doing like a puppy dog face thing, or to convince Takuto to let them do what they like, do their job and all that. Auto's jealous, and then talk Taco tells Otto that like she's the only one for him. So we see Otto like imagine like them as like a married couple and all that. It's so funny. So Taco gets some bodyguards to protect Korea Maria, on their journey. And basically the bodyguards look like, those apocryphy like doctors. So like, the ones that like have those weird like bird mask or whatever. That yeah. So yeah, I really liked this episode. I thought it was really funny. Looking for the next one. Gachiakuta episode 6. So in this one, so Zanga starts fighting the Raiders, which allows Rudo, Grease, and Folo to like search for an escape route. But those three, their path is blocked by another Raider named Jabber. So basically, so Grease like fights Jabber, and basically mean Rudo starts trying to fight him after Grease gets like really injured. So yeah, this so next week looks like we'll see more of like the fight between Rudo and Jabber, and this is a really good fight in the manga. So yeah, I really like this episode. It was interesting, the flashbacks with Rudo like in Recto. I guess when Rudo started trying to like collect trash. So yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Uglymug Epicfighter episode 7. So this one, we see Seika, play some casino games, basically so the casino like is trying to like Kajuta's trying to like, let her win some so that, basically destroy her later. So then, once they get ready to fight, so Seiji comes in with his old Aldine like alter ego. Then Seika does like her angel thing as like an alter ego thing, like, and then Sharon Reese also has one. Looks more like a vampire, like demon lady or something. So Suguru is like, what the frick? So it's just funny, the interactions. Like, you even have like this butler dude, like server dude, like be like, oh, there is a hero. Like, it's so funny. So it's like basically they're all about to fight Kajita. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. It's just, I mean, this is just humor. There's leaning right into with the El Caron stuff, Aldine, and I was like, okay, this is funny. Like, I'm just laughing. Like, Shiguru's just reaction, everything's like, oh crap. So yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Hotel Inhumans episode 7. So in this one, Sarah fights Double Fang, and basically, Ringo watches the fight, like while Ikro leaves, I guess to help make some more of the miso. So Double Fang briefly gets an upper hand due to Sarah having to protect Ringo while fighting. But Sarah is able to win, and she decides to spare Double Fang. Now Ringo, like, her illness worsens and she goes to the clinic. Now Ikro's able to figure out the what the secret ingredient was. So to the miso, so it's revealed that it was not an apple, it was a tomato. Do something with her name. Do the fact they're both from like Ringo's from France. So basically, so it's revealed to be a tomato. So with Ringo having finally eaten the soup, like the miso soup, she then has some flashbacks to her past. Basically, she had killed her. She basically her mentor trained her, I guess, to like kill her or something. And then she passes away. So Ikro and Sarah visit Ringo's grave, which is next near her master's. So it's revealed that the money that was used was that she stole was used to prepare her grave. So then we see Sarah trying to cook the miso soup herself. Yeah. So yeah, I really like this episode. It's interesting how this all went. You know, basically like how they're trying to get basically like this is all about miso soup. Like really, this is an episode about miso soup, and it's a good episode. And, the fighting was cool. Sarah versus Double Fang. So yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound Mole, episode 7. So in this one, we see Sakurako like still trying to rely on Kyoko, who's like basically future scene eye, which So basically, after a little bit, there she's so confused. So basically, Kiyoshi was able to like exercise the spirits from her, and then basically, then after that, Magi is assigned with basically assignment regarding festivals. So Yako recommends that they research the Mermaid Festival, but what she really wants is to visit someone who's connected to Mogura's past. You know, so it's like we're gonna see more about the festival and all that. So yeah, I really like this episode. Be interesting to see like how it goes. Like, okay, this guy from Mogura's past who's like I think like 97 or something. Interesting to see what's going on. So, and there's like a whole conversation about Mogura having like I guess since he drew porn. And I guess he was very success. He got a lot of money doing that. So he's like, I guess he thinks he could probably sell that today, if he changed his style, which unfortunately probably true. Yeah, like unfortunately it's very true. Like, yeah, some people would buy that. Watch, well, yeah. See, yeah, so I thought this was a really funny episode, very wacky, looking forward to the next one. Spy Family, Chapter 121. So in this one, Twilight Nightfall talk about so Melinda, Desmond, uh, missed like her like appointment. You know, basically they want to investigate. You know, they don't neither of them believe that Donovan Desmond is an alien, but maybe something happened that gave Melinda the idea. So they want to figure out what's causing it. So where was like any family issues that could be connected to the war plans. Maybe there's something with the occult stuff that maybe Melinda could be involved with. And basically, Twilight thinks maybe he could try to reach out through Yor. So we see Yor and Melinda going bowling. Yor just throws the bowling ball and utterly destroys the lane. It's like we see like her strength, and Melinda just finds it funny. And then Yor gives Melinda some valerian root tea to like help with sleeping. And then Melinda says she can't accept edible gifts from people. So yours like, oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot you're, high. Basically, she's like, oh, sorry, and then yours like, hey, but it's not poison. Then she like drinks it herself. Then she starts coughing, I guess, because of the taste. And so Melinda accepts it, and they start talking, and Melinda tells Yor that she had been going to Lloyd for treatment. And Yor says, Lloyd didn't mention anything, but Melinda says, yeah, it's doctor patient privilege, so he can't say he he obviously Lloyd takes that seriously. And Melinda says, it has helped, you know, basically talking about things, has helped her. So she didn't even go to an appointment. Basically, and then basically she talks about how she's afraid of Donovan like seeing through her, like knowing more than what she wants to do. So like she's like she's afraid of Donovan. Then yours like yeah, she's trying to hide something for her husband too, but when this not well one was like, oh what is he with? Well yours like well she just says yeah maybe it's just something wives share. That's just a common feeling wives have. I was like, makes sense. So then, like, I guess Melinda takes George to some occult thing, like get a reading, basically something similar to a Ouija board. So, like, obviously Melinda's into some occult stuff. So, like, this one guy, like, starts giving her, so who I believe like it's Mr. Crowley. So yeah, Mr. starts trying to give her a reading. Then, then basically, like, we see some stuff. So your lies about what she wants. She says that she eat. She doesn't want Lloyd to know that she eats like the little bit of pudding that's stuck to the lid. You know, basically she doesn't. She's embarrassed to tell Lloyd that she does that, and all everyone's like, no one cares. They're like, what? Lloyd's like, I understand. You don't want. It's embarrassing. You don't want. Feel like it could affect. Like it's like what the frick? Like everyone's like, are we seriously this concerned about it? And Crowley's like, whatever, I'm professional, I'll do it. And so we see like some visions that he claims to have a rustling forest, a room with drawn curtains, smoke, timid teacups, Rochambeau crows, a headache hurts, red blizzard. Basically, they don't sound like good omens. So one thing I saw that I agree with that it could hint at how Lloyd will eventually figure out about Yor being a assassin. Like a member of the Garden. I agree with that assessment. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like I agree with that. So yeah, so basically so Crowley like reads her he's like, yeah, maybe we gotta need to just leave the undersides of lids alone. And so like basically Melinda thinks that Yor like like licks those lids, where yours think she actually uses a spoon. Yours like no, she uses. I know she's like no, I use a spoon. So basically, there's something where yeah, this is just funny. Yours like well, yours like well, Elaine's like well, what's fun this time? Yours like well, I'll she. You're like yeah, I don't mind. So and well, Elaine's like yeah, you'll be fine. Your husband will accept you. And it was like, yeah, Lloyd's fine. And basically Yor didn't want to like and then she asked Melinda gives Yor like this little notebook that she wants her to give Lloyd about like, anything she remembered about times she felt anxious or whatever. Huh. she, she's definitely not Pedro Pascal. I will say that when it comes to anxiety. And then, yeah. So yours like, all right. I don't know if your read it, but Lloyd looks at it and notices that basically, sees some stuff. Basically, talking about Donovan Desmond had got sick and collapsed, and basically, I guess after he recovered, he was like a different person. You know, reclusive, foul-tempered is how it translation words it. Then basically like there's some assembly member Melinda was gonna meet, and Donovan told her not to. So yeah, so she was wondering if she was being monitored or whatever. Basically, it was around that time when like her husband, when Donovan resigned as prime minister, and it's real that Professor Othen was gonna arrive, but she was stopped before she could say hello, or and she was afraid to sign. So basically, the forgers' neighbors, the Othens, so they're connected to the Desmond family. So that's gonna be interesting. With like, okay, they're not just gonna be like, I guess, friendly neighbors. They're actually gonna have a major role beyond like the school stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what happened. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking for the next one. Interesting what they're setting up. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.